Hi, thank you for watching a video blog. Today from Riga, Latvia. Hi, thank you for watching a video blog. Today from Riga, Latvia. Latvia is a small European country with only 1.8 million inhabitants. So one of the smallest countries in Europe, just like Estonia and Lithuania. They don't have a lot of inhabitants and they're in serious danger for that reason, because their country is dying out. And I'm not happy to say that, because for what I've seen, it's just like Estonia, a very beautiful country, but this is really an emergency situation. Because 1.8 million inhabitants is really not a lot. It's very small and it makes a country like this very vulnerable. And I am not really certain that the people of Latvia are really aware of that. I don't think, maybe, that they don't really understand the impact of having low birth rates. Because the birth rates in Latvia are under replacement levels, 1.5. So that means that the population is decreasing, shrinking. The next generation, there will be less people here in Latvia. And again, like I say, there already aren't a lot of people living here. The government tries to do their best to increase the numbers, but yeah, they're not really succeeding, because it's impossible to increase birth rates if you have a culture that is not very supportive of families. That's nothing to do with money. Because you can see clearly that also people with money aren't having a lot of children. Now, especially smaller countries like Latvia, they are in danger. Because as you can see here, they have a lot of utilities built in the country. And unless they go back to a more natural life, they cannot sustain this way of living. It's impossible. Because for a culture, for a society, for a civilization to survive, you need a constant growing population. It's the main reason why the Roman Empire declined. The birth rates were just plummeting. Why? Well, that's the thing. Civilization is the biggest control on birth. Because civilization in itself focuses away from nature towards civilization. And when you do so, you will not emphasize nature and family anymore, but you emphasize the individual. You emphasize the surrounding, like beautiful buildings. That is what's wrong with civilization. And that is why birth rates always will decline. Now, you might say, but Latvia have been a civilization for very long. Why does it happen now? That is because now civilization has expanded. Until the 1950s there was a strong rural population that were living as farmers. You can also see this in the Netherlands. They lived quite primitive. But this means that they had large families. All these traditional households, all these traditional farmer families, they had 10 to 12 children. And even in the civilized world, there were still people having large families. Of course, there wasn't the birth control that we have now. So, of course, that helped to have larger families. But even back then, there were many people in the city that weren't marrying or, you know, just didn't want to have a family, because that's what civilization is. In civilization, many people have the luxury to choose not to be part of a family. For example, many of the artists, philosophers, Nietzsche for example, they didn't have any children because they were busy with their civilization work, writing, making art. So it also happened then. But now we can see that Now there's even no more inflow in the cities from the rural areas. That civilization will die out soon. And for example, Latvia, the civilized world of Latvia, will be gone in 1 or 2 generations if the birth rates continue to drop. And they will drop, because it's very hard to turn back. Because like I say, the inflow of large families from the rural areas is over. We're also not having large families because there is not really a rural life anymore. These are ghost towns. And that will cause this civilization to stop. And now there's people that say, oh yeah, but you can have immigrants, but that's not a solution. Because immigrants will also adapt to the modern civilized lifestyle. They are here because they can survive in their own country. They look for work or maybe a better pay, but eventually that's why they're here. They're not here to start big families or something. And you can already see that many of them are single, unmarried, and they just send money home, and many of them also want to return home, which is of course understandable. They don't want to live in a culture that's not theirs. They want to be home with their families. So it's not really sustainable. And yes, unfortunately, that is the reality. And unfortunately, for the people that love civilization, and in Latvia, this country will be disappearing. So that was for today from Riga, Latvia. I said thank you for watching, and see you next time.
Ha ha ha.